Hi, I'm Robert Williamson. Welcome to another edition of the NJCAA Sports Page. There will be a new tenant in the top 10. That's because the number 9 team has lost. We'll talk about that MAC-JC matchup in a moment. Let's first start with another MAC-JC matchup as number 1 East Mississippi knocks off Northeast Mississippi by a final score of 65-7. It was defense for East Mississippi. 3 pick sixes, a safety, then that going along with that prolific offense for EMCC accounted for 37 points in the first quarter. At halftime, it was 51-7. Chad Kelly at it again. Third time this season, he's had a 4-touchdown effort. Wound up passing for 310 yards, but we got something new out of Chad Kelly this week, and that was 2 picks. Had gone 110 consecutive passes without throwing a pick. 16 wins in a row now for East Mississippi, and over those 16 games, they have averaged 62 points per out. It was number 2 Iowa Western victorious over Dodge City. Final score 57-14. Tate Bender opened the ball game up 20 seconds in with a 67-yard touchdown run. By the way, he's the quarterback and only completed 5 passes, but 4 of them for touchdowns. Dan Hamilton kicked a pair of field goals, including a 42-yarder, and the Reavers were victorious over the Dodge City squad by a final of 57-14, keeping their unbeaten streak intact. Number 3, Trinity Valley Community College taking on Kilgore. This was one of the key matchups from a week ago. Kilgore coming in as the number 11 ranked team in the nation. They had a lead early, 21-14 over Trinity Valley, but 17 unanswered points in the second stanza, 14 unanswered points in the third, eventually results in a big win for Trinity Valley. They proved their number 3 ranking. They are worthy of it. Kyle Postma throws for 450 yards and 5 touchdowns. He hits 13 different receivers, 664 yards of total offense, and nearly 100 offensive plays for Trinity Valley. Number 4, Mississippi Gulf Coast, a 40-23 winner over Hines Community College. Again, Jason Smith at it, 244 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 171 yards rushing from Chris Robinson. The safeties, they came in bundles, 3 of them for Mississippi Gulf Coast. They only had a 12-10 halftime lead, and they did again have some penalty issues, but come back and win it in a big way. Number 5, Hutchinson, a 41-14 winner over Iowa Central. Hutch scored 21 points in the third stanza to blow open a close game. Alvin Kamara accounting for a 71-yard touchdown run and a 52-yarder, both in the third stanza, by the way. He finished with 180 yards. The Blue Dragons are now 4-0, and they held Iowa Central to a total of 145 yards of offense. Penalty problems again, though, for Hutch. 2 games in a row, they've had better than 100. Jones County, the number 6 ranked team in the nation, a 21-14 winner over Pearl River. It was a sloppy game. 4 picks, 1 fumble, 9 penalties for Jones County, but they had Rodriguez Duckworth, who caught 4 passes, 2 for touchdowns, and averaged 18 yards per grab. They've got a big game coming up this week. We'll talk more in a bit. Number 7, Nassau, a 19-10 winner over Erie Community College. It wasn't about what Nassau did, it was about what Erie did not do. They had only 58 yards passing, 37 yards running. They fumbled once, missed 3 field goals, quarterback sacked 3 times. Yaqui Johnson running for 2 touchdowns, and it was a victory for Nassau. Number 8, Navarro, a 62-14 winner over Texas A&T. Navarro had a week off to lick their wounds after the loss to Trinity Valley, and boy, did they do it in a big way. 731 yards of total offense, including 531 rushing, had a couple of 100-yard rushers, and every time they carried the football, they picked up an average of 8 yards. They've got a big matchup this week, though, against a Kilgore squad that has already lost 2 to that Trinity Valley team. Here's the upset. It was Southwest Mississippi, a 45-35 winner over Papaya Lincoln, the number 9 ranked team in the nation. Right at the bat, Rakeem Baker, a 96-yard kickoff return. They never looked back, never relinquished the lead. Colin had their problems, got within 6 in the third, but never really got back into the ballgame. And that's despite the fact that starting quarterback for Southwest, D'Angelo Ballard, was sat initially because of disciplinary measures, but his sub did a very able job. Tyler Shell threw for a touchdown pass to Ed Smith, covering 27 yards. Number 10, Tyler, moved into the top 10, and they celebrated in a big way with a 58-31 win over Oklahoma A&M. The two teams combined for better than 1,000 yards of offense, 89 points. Tyler got 217 yards passing from Sedarian Copeland and overcame Cameron Booty's 141 yards rushing to improve to 3-1. Well, that's how the top 10 fared. Let's do what we always do on the program here, and that's look at an NFL player who began in the NJCAA. Eddie Brown is a guy that you might recall played for the University of Miami, went as a number 13 pick in the first round of the 1985 draft, the Cincinnati Bengals. He, by the way, went 3 picks ahead of a guy by the name of Jerry Rice. Caught 363 passes for better than 6,000 yards and 41 touchdowns. One time was a Pro Bowl participant. He was the Offensive Rookie of the Year in his rookie season, but he began his campaign as a junior college football player at, we'll get to that right after the break. Welcome back to the NJCAA Sports page. It's time to look at the NJCAA Top 10. Of course, we've got the JockJive Top 10 as well. Here's how we rank them, and they rank them as well. Some key matchups this week in the top 10, the biggest of which is 4 taking on 6. Mississippi Gulf Coast taking on Jones County. That's a game that will be played in Ellisville, home of the Bobcats of JC. Mississippi Gulf Coast opened the season up with a bang, but they have not been playing particularly well here of late. Jones County's been struggling with teams. Barely beat Southwest and then barely beat Pearl. Should be a good ball game, but certainly it's got implications on the top 10. A couple of other games you want to keep an eye on as well. Lackawanna taking on Nassau. Nassau ranked number 7 in the nation. They are unbeaten, but so is Lackawanna. And Nassau's had their woes as well. This is a game that tells us if they are worthy of that top 10 ranking. One other that you might want to look at, Kilgore. They lost to Trinity Valley last week, had a lead, not a big one, but had a lead in the ball game against Trinity Valley. They've got to get it together against Navarro, or they're out on the rankings altogether. Well, let's answer that question as to Eddie Brown, where he played junior college football. Miami's where he played and stood out. As a matter of fact, you might recall the game that Doug Flutie threw the Hail Mary and Boston College beat Miami. Final moments of the ball game. That was the biggest game ever in collegiate football for Eddie Brown, 220 yards receiving. But he began his career in 1981 and 82 as a Bulldog at Navarro. We put the wraps on another edition of the NJCAA Sports page. Before we go, gotta remind you that we travel the country producing games and shows just like this one. If you'd like more information, email us info@jockjive.com. You might as well take a trip to our website too, jockjive.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Next week, we recap games. We look ahead to games as well. Join us then. I'm Robert Williamson for the NJCAA Sports page.